All right, let's talk about central angles and arcs. First, let me remind you that in a circle, a full circle is 360 degrees. Okay, so that makes a full circle. Now, when we talk about a central angle, the vertex is going to be the center of the circle. Okay, so any angle with the vertex at the center of a circle, that's what we call the central angle. Now, a minor arc is going to be an arc formed by a central angle that is less than 180 degrees. Now, let's think about 180 degrees. A full circle is 360. Half of that is going to be 180. So if I cut that circle in half and just go halfway around, that's going to be 180. So we're talking about for a minor arc, it has to be something that's smaller than halfway around. So for example, this red one is a minor arc. Notice that the central angle is smaller than 180 degrees. A major arc is just how it sounds. It's an arc that is 180 degrees or bigger, or not, it can't be 180, it's bigger than 180. So for example, if I went all the way around like this, so that's halfway, that's 180, but I have to keep going. All right, that would be a major arc, okay, bigger than 180. And then a semicircle is an arc whose endpoints are the diameter, so that would be exactly 180 degrees. So if I have a diameter, that angle is 180 degrees, and that would be half of the circle. That's a semicircle. All right, so those are some vocabulary that we need to be familiar with. So let's get some practice with that. So we're going to determine whether the arc is a minor arc, major arc, or a semicircle. So let's look at this diagram. So I have AE. Notice that this symbol above AE, that just means arc. So that means we're tracing around the circle. So I'm going to go from A to E around the circle. So from A to E, is that bigger than 180 or smaller than 180? Well, I didn't go halfway around, so that means that's a minor arc. All right, now if I go from F to A, so F to A, that's definitely smaller than 180, so that would be another minor arc. Okay, now when they have three letters, like in number 2, A, E, B, I have to trace it in that order. So I'm going to go from A to E to B. So A to E to B. Now do you notice how that's all the way cut in half? So that's going to be a semicircle. It's exactly 180 degrees. And then I'm going to trace out BE. So from B to E, again, that's definitely less than 180, so we're going to call that a minor arc. Then we're going to do FDE. So FDE, here's F, then D, then E. Okay, again, that's cutting that circle in half. That's a semicircle, 180 degrees exactly. And the reason I know that is because they told me or that it's a straight line. They didn't tell me they were diameters, but we can see that it's a straight line for the center. All right, so BDA. BDA, let's see, here's B, and then there's D, and then A. So, gosh, another semicircle. All right, maybe we'll get some major arcs coming up. So DFB. So D, and then F, and then B. So I have to go counterclockwise this way. D, F, B. Now that does go more than halfway around, because just from B to A, that would be a semicircle, but it goes all the way around to here. So that's going to be a major arc. So we're going to call that a major. And then our last one from F to B. So F to B, that's a minor. It's a big one, but doesn't go past 180, so we're going to call that a minor arc. Now, something I want to clarify here. Remember that if I go from F to B, I'm going from F to be this way. If they wanted me to go around the other way, they would have to say like FAB, or they would have to say FDB, or say another letter. So for those major arcs, you definitely have to have 3 letters so that we know to go in that direction. So let's look some more about the measures of arcs. Okay, the measure of a minor arc is equal to the measure of its central angle. So you can see that the central angle is 60 degrees, so that means that this arc we call 60 degrees. All right, and then if we have 2 of them added together, then I just add their degrees together. So for example, if I wanted to go all the way from E all the way to G, I would add up 60 degrees plus 180 degrees. Okay, and that would be 240. Okay, so just so you're aware that those do add together. Okay, so let's look at some examples here. Now, in this diagram, they tell us that MQ is a diameter, so MQ is a diameter, and then NR is a diameter. So those are, we know, are 180 degrees. And they want us to find the measures. So now we actually want to find angle measures. We're not just saying whether it's minor or major or anything like that. So what I would suggest, what I like to do, is figure out what all of these angle measures are before I get started. So if I know that NR is a diameter, then that means all of these add up to be 180. So 82 plus that middle one, which we don't know, plus 63, that equals 180. So all I'm going to do is subtract 82 and 63 from both sides. So that's going to give me that one that I didn't know is going to be 35 degrees. Okay, so I did that by doing 180 minus 82 and took that minus 63, and that gave me 35. Okay, so I'm going to put 35 degrees right here. Actually, I'm going to put that closer. So now let's also talk about other things that we learned from first semester. Think about what kind of angles those are. This one and this one. What do we call those? Yeah, those are vertical angles. Remember, they make that X shape. So that means this one is congruent to that one. So that one's also 63 degrees. All right. The other thing we can use is we can say in either direction, we know that MQ is 180 degrees, so all of that is 180 degrees. So I know something plus 63 equals 180. So that's something, I'm going to subtract the 63, and that's going to give me 117. So again, let me erase some of that. So this is 63 because of vertical angles, but this angle right here is 117. Okay? So I think that's going to be more helpful if we figure those out before we get started finding all of those, because now we know what each piece of that circle equals. All right, so let's do some tracing. First one, we have to find the measure of MN. So MN goes here. And remember that if you need to trace out the piece of pie so that you know what angle it's talking about, that's 63 degrees. So we're just going to put 63 degrees. All right, MR, let's trace that one out. So MR, that goes from here to here. Okay, and that piece of pie is just 117 degrees. All right, let's do NQ. So NQ goes from here to here. Now that has like 2 pieces of pie, so we have to add those 2 things together. So we're going to do 82 plus 35. So that's going to give me 117. All right, next one is QMR. So QMR, that means I have to go all the way around this way. All right, so that means that I have everything except that little piece of the pie. So remember, we know that the whole thing is 360, and then it's like I'm going to subtract off that piece of the pie. So I'm going to do, for QMR, I'm going to do 360, and I'm going to subtract the 63 piece of pie. All right, and when we do that, that gives you 297. All right, NQR, let's trace that out. NQR, oh, that's exactly half of the pie, so we know what to do for that. That means it's 180. All right, PQ. PQ, that's just this little bitty piece. So that's going to be the 35-degree angle. And then MRP. MRP, so I have to go around this way. That goes past 180 and then there. So I have, this is half of the pie, and then plus another little extra 35. So I'm actually going to do 180 plus 35. Now you could also do 117 plus 63 plus 35 if you wanted to. You should get the same answer, which is 215 degrees. For PRN, we've got PRN. Okay, so this is another big one. So this is a major arc, and again, it's everything except this piece. So it's like I'm going to subtract 82 from the whole thing. Remember, the whole thing is always 360 minus the 82. So for PRN, that's going to give me 278 degrees. All right, and then QR. QR is right here. So if I trace that out, that's just this little piece. So that's 63 degrees. And then our last one, MQN. MQN. So I have to go all the way around here. MQN. Everything except that 63. So I'm doing, again, I'm doing 360 minus 63, just like I did up here. So I should get the same answer, 297.